Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. JJ here, and today we're going to look at the 2024 and 2025 LEGO Harry Potter Hogwarts Castle system. Specifically, we'll do an in-depth review of both the Potions class as well as the Charms class, and then we're going to look to see how they fit into both the Great Hall as well as the Flying Lesson Tower with this new build technique where you can interchange the different classrooms throughout the sets. We will also look at some of the rumored sets. We'll talk about some of the rumored sets coming out this summer in June of 2025 and see how we speculate those might fit into this Hogwarts Castle wave. But let's take a look inside now, starting with the Potions class. Alrighty, here we see both the Charms class and the Potions class. We're going to take a look first here at the Potions class. The Potions class is set 76431. It has 397 pieces and retailed for $39.99, and this came out in 2024. Looking here at the minifigures, of course, it comes with Professor Snape, the Potions Master. We also get Slytherin student Pansy Parkinson, which is nice because I think we've only seen her one other time before in older form, so it's nice to get her from one of the earlier films and books. And then, of course, we have Seamus as well as Hermione. And, you know, Seamus always has trouble with Potions class, so it's quite funny that they've included this face print. Both Seamus and Pansy have very standard kind of Lego City Kid alternate face print, which is why I use kind of the more exclusive face print when I display these characters. Hermione has kind of the more scared or surprised, which is probably in response to Seamus blowing himself up. And then I like this kind of angry expression we see here on Snape. This is actually my favorite Snape minifigure. When I did my review of every LEGO Harry Potter minifigure in my collection, this one really stood out with the arm and leg printing and the way just the kind of that evergreen looks on his shirt, and then the silver and then gray embellishments as well. This set also comes with two of those portrait pieces, and I don't love that these are random as I still haven't collected all of them, but it's nice that this set comes with two. Now, before we fold this up and look at how it kind of fits into the Great Hall or the Flying Lessons Tower, I want to look at some of the details and features in the Potions class. One of my favorite features of the architecture are actually going to be these arches here. Those are unfortunately sticker pieces, but I think it does a really nice job kind of creating some angles and dimensions for this room that I haven't really seen in a ton of other LEGO Harry Potter classroom sets. Similarly, I also think they do a good job with the arches, kind of with the windows or walkways as we see here for Snape's desk or podium area. The set's kind of divided into four sections. This first section, of course, is just the doorway leading into the Potions class. And then the second section, kind of these potions as well as cauldrons, as we could see here. These kind of student desks, you can see there is both the cauldron with the bubbles. We see a little printed tile there with like a book sheet from a potions recipe. And then we also see kind of a spoon and a fork kind of used to brew the potion, but these can be pretty easily kind of removed here, so you can expand play in front of this set if you desire. And this kind of a brick built cauldron piece also comes off pretty easily with just a one stud connection. The next area is Snape's podium here. Again, we see that same printed piece with the potions recipe. There's also some really cool pieces. Kind of here we see like this heart and just some other kind of brick built potions there along the bookshelf and wall as well. And this last part of the potions classroom is kind of this ingredients shelf, if you will. And what's cool is these actually can all be removed from the jars. And I think that's what you use kind of this cauldron piece for, is you can kind of brew whatever potion you like based on the recipe you're following of how much of each of those four ingredients to add to the cauldron. This ingredient shelf could also be removed. As you can see, it's just connected kind of with that little clip piece here to the wall. All in all, I think there's some really cool pieces, but let's see how this set folds up. So first, you can take this wall and kind of fold it, and then same with the wall with the door, and then it folds into the rectangle. I do like that this set could technically be displayed closed up as well, because they've included some designs here, such as that spider, as well as the way the windows kind of look at various scenes that you could set up. And again, we see that here with some stickers placed here on the outside. So when you obviously put this into the Great Hall or Flying Lesson Tower, you can't see the sides and the back, but it is nice that they've kind of thought about if you're not using it with that set, you can still view different parts of the set from different sides. And here from the top, you can see how it all kind of folds together nicely and kind of creates this scene. And one thing that's cool is when you fold it up, you could also open up this wall that has the door and kind of keep it in the rectangle form. And this will be really neat when you display this underneath the Great Hall. when you can kind of still open up this wall so you can display and see the inside of the potions dungeon underneath that Great Hall set. Next up is the Charms class. This is set 76442. This is a new release for January 2025. This cost $19.99 and has 204 pieces, so it is about half the size and half the price of the Potions classroom. And you can definitely see that it is much smaller, but what's cool about this set is a lot of these pieces on the back wall can be removed and brought forward. So the student desk, as well as Professor Flitwick's desk and platform, I guess, as well as that little chalkboard with some spells can be moved forward off of the back wall. This set has 3 minifigures, of course, Professor Flitwick. I think they did a really nice job with his torso printing. I love that green color on Lego, and with all the gold and red embellishments, I think it looks really nice. And then our 2 students are Ron and Hermione. This is the same Hermione from the Potions class, and Ron is a pretty standard figure as well, but I do really like, I think my favorite student torso is when it's kind of the open robes with the sweater and tie there. So that Ron looks really nice. And here we see the alternate facial expression for Ron and Hermione. I really like Ron's scared face. It works quite well, especially when he's in the Forbidden Forest. And then Flitwick has a little bit of back torso printing here as well, with some of the kind of like gold piece around his neck. This set does come with one of those Hogwarts collectible portrait pieces. So again, getting closer to having all 14. I'm still missing quite a few, unfortunately. I was a bit disappointed that this set came with stickers because the flying lesson as well as the dueling club from this January 2025 release were all printed tiles. So it would have been nice to see that here, but there are quite a few, so I'm assuming that's why they didn't do it. All right, the first major part of the play scene, of course, is the desk where you can sit Ron and Hermione. There is a printed tile piece there for this spell sheet for Wingardium Leviosa, which you can even see that it says WL, and the rest of the letters are kind of squiggled out, but that's quite funny. Then we have the teacher desk or platform for Flitwick. This is kind of the fun play feature. You can make the feather kind of bobble up and down there as the students are performing the spell. We see this chalkboard piece. Like I said, that was able to remove from the wall. Nothing there on the back. And then there's also a fireplace here. Looking here at the back wall, those sticker sheets do have some spells on them. So I think that is really cool, actually. I don't recognize each of those, but I definitely recognize a few of them, and it's fun to kind of see that included here on the Lego set. And I also want to point out, I really like kind of these house crests pieces. Again, they are stickers, but I do like those pieces just above each of the archways. This set does fold up into a much smaller rectangle. Not as much to see on the outside like we had with the Potions class, just because of the design of this set. Well, there's a window there, which is nice. But what's cool is because this is smaller, it will fit underneath both the Great Hall or underneath the 2 spots for the Flying Lessons Tower. And similarly, you can open up this wall that has the door, and you can kind of still see the Charms class in session here with the way it closes up. And I think that is kind of a nice feature the designers considered, is when you open it up to still be able to have kind of the scene playing out, although on a much smaller scale. And of course, here we are looking at the back of the Great Hall as well as the back of the Flying Lesson Tower, just to look at kind of the way that these sets can fit into various rooms underneath these sets. When folded up, the Potions class is going to have the same footprint as both the Hufflepuff common room as well as the girls' bathroom that go underneath of the Great Hall set. Of course, looking at these sets, it really is no comparison. The amount of detail we get with the Potions classroom is significantly greater than both the girls' bathroom as well as the Hufflepuff common room. The biggest difference is, of course, that these sets don't really have built-up walls, as you can see. There's kind of like, the sink and the bathroom build there in the back, but we see with the Potions class walls on all sides of this set. And of course, a big reason for this is when you place the sets underneath the Great Hall, it already has the walls and ceiling built up. They do have some embellishments with some sticker pieces there in the back, and those rock pieces add some dimensions, which is neat. And there's, of course, archways, but it is interesting that we do not see walls for the Hufflepuff common room or the girls' bathroom. So here you can see I placed the Potions classroom where the Hufflepuff common room usually is. And like I said, you can open up the wall that has the door, and you can really still view the classroom. We see Pansy and Seamus there working at their tables, all the different potions. And then, of course, we also see Snape at his podium there in the back. So I think it does a nice job. It looks really good with all the walls. Is it necessary? On its own, for sure. Maybe not so much when you obviously put it in this set. It does make me curious when we get the main tower in this coming summer of 2025. if they're going to kind of go with this scale for sets or if they're going to have kind of the sets without the walls. And one thing I'm still skeptical about with this 2024 Hogwarts Castle system is, once you place some of these expansions, like the Potions Classroom underneath the Great Hall, it leaves a portion of the castle kind of floating and going nowhere. In this instance, I placed the girls' bathroom and the Potions class underneath the Great Hall, so I don't really know what to do with the Hufflepuff Common Room. I don't really think any of these sets, even the detail with the Potions classrooms, are really strong enough to stand out on their own. So I'm unclear if we're going to get like empty chambers in the future or the ability to combine chambers so that nothing's kind of just floating around. So I'm hopeful that we are at some point able to place everything within a set. Now, looking at the size of the Charms class, we are actually able to place it in 3 locations. We can place it in either of the 2 areas of the tower from the Flying Lesson set or the center area underneath of the Great Hall. Underneath the Great Hall, the area that takes up the center is this hallway. All right, so the play feature is essentially you can open up this wall so that Quirrell can escape. But overall, I think this was just a really lazy inclusion with the Great Hall, especially seeing what they're capable of making to fit into this space here with the Charms class. I didn't really understand just a random hallway. I wish this would have been a scene. It could have been the scene with Quirrell at the final challenge, maybe, with the flames and the Philosopher's Stone. I think this was just a disappointing part of the Great Hall build, so I'm glad I can replace it now with the Charms class. And similarly with the Potions classroom, like I said before, we can open up the door once it's underneath the Great Hall to reveal the Charms class in session, of course, with Ron and Hermione, and then we see Professor Flitwick as well. And then here, looking at the Flying Lesson, there are 2 chambers that are the same footprint as the Charms class. The first is very basic and just kind of holds Quidditch supplies, and the second one is Professor McGonagall's classroom, I guess with some transfiguration going on here with the glass and the Black Parrot. Similar to the random hallway underneath of the Great Hall, both of these feel a little lazy to me. This set was $80, the Flying Lesson, and I really wish they would have given us a lot more detail, especially they should have converted this into a more proper trophy room, perhaps. And then the Transfiguration classroom, I'm actually okay with the build itself in terms of like the desks where the students can stand and Professor McGonagall's area there at the front, but they should have given us something there on the walls, especially because of what we see with the Potions class and the Charms class. And even though the walls are, of course, included when you place it inside of the tower, I wish there was more Transfiguration type things somehow adorning the walls and connected to this area. And just like before, once you place the Charms class here, you're able to open it up to reveal the scene. I will say, because this platform is raised in a way that the Great Hall isn't, the Charms class looks really strange here because it does have a little bit of an overhang and I can't push it back any further. So I definitely would display the Charms class underneath the Great Hall before I would put it here in the Flying Lessons tower. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of the Charms class as well as the Potions class. I'm actually really happy with this. We've seen LEGO try a lot of different designs, with the Hogwarts Moments books, the banners, to kind of recreate these sets. So I like the idea that these sets fold up and fit into the castle. That's where I prefer my minifigure scale sets to go, is inside the castle. So I've been really happy with that. What sets are you hoping they come out with? I think there is rumor of a herbology classroom or a greenhouse coming out this summer, but also with the main tower set releasing this summer, I'm curious how many of these little builds will be interchangeable. I mean, I'm hoping they're all in the size of the Potions classroom because that main tower really needs to be at least at a minimum the footprint of the Potions class kind of all the way up when you're creating that tower. But let me know down below what you're hoping to see for future sets from LEGO Harry Potter, the Hogwarts Castle system. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to stay updated with LEGO leaks, rumors, news, and reviews, hit the subscribe button down below. But I will see you all next time.